Rich Tehrani with TMC. Thanks for watching. We're down here having an editor's day with a number of the leading companies in Atlanta, Georgia. And on our program right now is Jeff Kalwerisky. He is the EVP of CPE Interactive. And Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So your company's about, what, 3 years old or so?
3.5 years old, yeah.
So congratulations, relatively new company, somewhat of a startup. I'm excited to help you share your message with the world. Tell us what you do.
Well, we have an interesting model. We're a professional training company, so we provide training at a high level for professionals, primarily in the internal audits and IT audit profession on the one hand, and information security on the other. So we have a lot of quality courses, we have a number of faculty, and what we've pioneered besides face-to-face training is full-scale video training using the internet. Not webinars, but instructor-led training on the internet. So we have operations all over the country that we've been able to train people, and around the world as well. Trying to use the internet as a new vehicle for doing training, so people don't have to travel for their training.
That's great. Now let's talk about these IT audits. How do you help companies perform more efficient IT audits?
Right, so my partner, who is Norm Kelson, is a world authority on IT auditing, written a lot of books and teaches at university on the subject, really is providing quality training, instructor-led training in the IT auditing and the internal auditing disciplines. So we've got a lot of stuff on how you do stuff from basic auditing to advanced computer auditing, this has been honed over probably 20 years. He's been doing these training sessions for about 20 years on various different environments, and now brought it to this company. So it's really aimed at the people who are internal auditors or IT auditors at very large corporations. Our market there would probably be about $1 billion and up. Companies that have IT auditors, how you do it more effectively, how you understand the risks in a company, what the risks are, and how you address the risks. Primarily risk-based, a lot of risk-based.
Now you also mentioned security. I'm curious to know how do you help companies, because security is such a big issue right now with all the talk of spying from different countries, different organizations, getting to corporate data, individual data. How do you help there?
Well, again, there we provide this high-level training, and our clients tend to be the big professional societies in auditing and in information security, as well as corporations and individuals who want to improve their skills. And we've tried to be a company that's on the bleeding edge. So we don't have a lot of training on what you might call plain vanilla stuff, disaster recovery and backup. Those are important things, but that's not the area we focus on. We're focusing on the future. So we're helping companies or information security people. Your company or your boss, your CFO, has decided to go to the cloud. What do you do to make sure this isn't a disaster, right? Yeah, he's going to save money by going to the cloud, or they're putting in mobile systems now that are accessing your most sensitive databases, your customer information and so on. How do you ensure that your corporation doesn't have the same disaster that unfortunately the State Department and the NSA have experienced in the recent past? What are the issues? What are the control issues? So we don't spend a lot of time, deep in the technical areas, teaching you how to do a firewall and so on. We're looking at, what should management be doing to ensure that they understand what can go right, but also what can go wrong, and fix what can go wrong before it does.
Awesome.
Yeah. So in other words, we've got lots of views on the subject of why these things happened with the NSA and the State Department. What went wrong? How did this happen? Our view is that these things shouldn't happen. Nothing is perfect in this world, but clearly a lot of doors were left open that shouldn't have been left open. So we want our people to think about this, to understand before you step off the cliff into something like the cloud, what can go wrong? What can go wrong in my environment? And what can I do to fix it, or at least to address it? So we're very concerned that these things happen, say, with the WikiLeaks or the NSA, is that nobody knew about it. So we'll talk to our clients about, things will go wrong. Stuff happens in the real world. But for stuff to go wrong and nobody knows about it, that's a double whammy. That's an unacceptable whammy. That's risk out of control. That's an out of control risk. What should you do? What can you do to know the risks, address them, and then be able to understand what happened when something does go wrong much quicker than appears to have happened here with our government. we're concerned about those things.
Makes sense, and you should be,
Yeah.
and every company should have those concerns.
Yeah.
Now, another security risk, which is, you mentioned bleeding edge, certainly this is relatively new. It's the BYOD phenomenon where companies have workers just bringing in any device and putting it on the network, and who knows if these are infecting devices.
Exactly.
What are you seeing there?
That's the good news and the bad news. So again, we had a mobile, the risks associated and the controls needed for mobile 2 years ago already. We've been doing this for almost 3 years now. So, we realized that there's significant risks there, but there's significant advantages.
Absolutely.
Obviously, for a company, if you no longer have to provide hardware for people, they've got their own hardware, the cost saving to the CFO is obvious. The other thing that moving to a BYOD and a cloud environment is, you're replacing a lot of capital costs with operating costs. So instead of having to buy all that equipment, you're essentially leasing it from your employees. Maybe you give them $50 a month for their data plan. That's a huge cost saving. At the same time, as you said, how do you know what I got on my iPad? My 16-year-old kids have got play with it, and they got all kinds of games and stuff that may be infected with viruses and so on. So our view for BYOD, exactly as with cloud, is if you think about the risks carefully up front, and you understand the risks, and you internalize the risks, and you address them, you should end up no worse off than you were before, maybe better, because now you've started to think of, your own internal computers that are owned by the company could also have viruses and stuff on, because people take them home and the 16-year-old kid gets it and puts the games on and so on. If you think about the problems, you think about the issues, you think deeply about them, nothing is perfect in this world, as we said earlier, but you can understand what can go wrong, right? So we've got a lot of points that we give our clients as, here's a checklist of maybe 50 things that you should think about before you do that, right?
So Jeff, what's next for the company?
For our company? Well, what we're looking to is expansion geographically, but using the internet, right? So we're a small company, we're not going to open offices in multiple countries, but we've done work in South Africa, Australia, and Singapore, and we're talking to people in Indonesia now. We can provide our training just as easily, and that's what we like to do on the internet, using a virtual classroom, as we can face-to-face with our students. So I think the advantage we're offering to corporations is you can put 20 of your people through training and you don't have to put them on a plane to Chicago or Las Vegas, right? They can, not only can they do it without travel, they can do it without leaving the office. So we tend to arrange our training so that maybe it's only 2 or 4 hours per day, so that people can actually get productive work done the rest of the day and get the same benefit, exactly the same training as we give face-to-face. The courses are the same. They're not webinars, and so, we know that there's some, sometimes disappointment with webinars. These are full instructor-led training, two-way video, question and answer. And so our role, what we're really trying to do now is to move that to the corporations that really need that kind of training. Now that the market is starting to turn around, people are spending more money on training.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for being here. This was great.
It's been
Good
a great
luck.
Pleasure. Thank you.